So Blood Angels. Blood Angels get some love with their +1 strength and +1 attack on the charge. But what else do they get? So let's take a look at my top 5 picks. And as ever, thanks to Games Workshop for sending through the index cards so I can make this video. Of course, we shall start with the Lord Commander of Imperium Nihilus, Commander Dante, who can lead a squad of assault, an assault squad with jump packs, Sanguinary Guard, and Vanguard Veteran squad with jump packs. Everybody with jump packs. Toughness 4, 2 up save, 6 wounds, 4 up invulnerable save, and a lot of attacks. 8 attacks at weapon skill 2, strength 7, -3, 2 damage. But of course that goes up to 9 attacks on the charge at strength 8. And the reason why he stands out to me is because he is the Lord Regent of Imperium Nihilus. While this model is leading a unit, add 1 to the charge rolls made for that unit, and each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to hit rolls. And of course, Deathmasker Sanguinius, at the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit within 6 inches of this model must take a battle shock test, subtracting 1 from the test when they do. But the main thing is, he can hit really hard, and he can add 1 to hit rolls. Now, Sanguinary Guard can only be joined by Commander Dante, and typically they would be hitting on 3s, but you chuck the Commander Dante in there and suddenly they're hitting on 2s. 5 or 4 attacks on the charge if you go flying in there. It depends whether you want Encarmin Blades or Power Fists. But yeah, I think Encarmin Blades all round. 2s to hit, that'll be at strength 6 -2, 2 damage, and each time a melee attack targets this unit, -1 to hit roll. And while a Warlord model is leading this unit, each time a melee attack targets this unit, -1 to the wound roll. And as I said, Dante's the only Warlord that can join them. So you're looking at -1 to hit and -1 to wound while they're in close combat. Those two stacked together, that's a powerful combo. And add 1 to the objective control characteristic of models in the bearer's unit. If you take a banner, why wouldn't you? 10 Sanguinary Guard on the charge with Commander Dante will be chucking out 50 attacks at strength 6. And Dante's got 9 attacks on the charge himself. Yeah, scary combination for anyone. And -1 to hit and -1 to wound means that they'll stick around for a lot longer than typical. Another standout character for me is Lemartes, because over on the right there you can see he has Guardian of the Lost. While this model is leading a unit, each time attack is allocated to a model in that unit, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack. And that's permanent, that's not just melee, that's all the time. So getting shot at with damage 2 weapons, getting punched with damage 2 weapons such as Power Fists, he's dropping all that damage down to 1 damage. And of course, Lemartes leads Death Company Marines with jump packs. He's got a 6 up feel no pain. He's a leader, and while he's leading a unit, he gives that unit lethal hits. That means 6s to hit in close combat, auto wound. The Blood Crozius that he himself carries isn't too shabby at 5 attacks or 6 attacks at the charge, hitting on 2, strength 6 or strength 7 on the charge, -2, 2 damage. He's pretty much a beatstick himself, but you're sticking him in a unit of Death Company Marines with jump packs to give them that -1 damage. You're also sticking them in a unit of Death Company Marines to give them -1 damage, because here we can see the Death Company Marines with jump packs data sheet, they have Black Rage. This Black Rage rule is the same rule regardless of whether you have Death Company Intercessors or Death Company with jump packs or not jump packs, but each time a model in this unit makes an attack, you can re-roll a hit roll. That's again permanent. Previously, Death Company used to hit like a brick in the first round of combat, and then in the second round of combat, the third round of combat, they forgot how to hit. But these guys are re-rolling the hit roll, with shooting as well, strangely enough. But yeah, in the third, fourth, well, they're not going to be in the third, fourth round of combat, but if they get that far, they're still re-rolling all hits. And you want Lemartes in there with them, because Death Company Marines cannot be selected to fall back unless Lemartes is there. And they also lose their objective control characteristics of models in this unit. So with Lemartes, they can fall back. They retain their OC of 1. They've got -1 damage. They're re-rolling hits all the time. And as you can see, they've got a veritable smorgasbord of weapons to choose from. I mean, I like the humble Astartes chainsword there, because on the charge, that's going to be 5 attacks at strength 5 -1 damage. But power fists, put power fists in wherever you can, because power fists, you don't lose the hit roll anymore. You just lose an attack. You go from 4 attacks to 3 attacks, but they are strength 8 -2, 2 damage. And then on the charge, 4 attacks, strength 9 -2, 2 damage, re-rolling all hits all the time. I like the sound of that. And Lemartes giving them lethal hits as well. That means you're rolling a hit with Lemartes, pick up all the things that aren't 6s, re-roll them again, and then any 6s to hit are lethal hits. They auto wound. Another frightening conversion of units here. You have Lemartes on one side with some Death Company Marines, maybe Dante on the other side with some Sanguinor Guard, and suddenly you've got a nice 1-2 punch. Then follow it up with the cherry on the cake, the Sanguinor. Lemartes one side, Dante the other side, the Sanguinor up the gut. He's still got his miraculous savior ability, as you can see on the right there. Once per battle, at the end of your opponent's charge phase, if this model is still in reserves, you can select one enemy unit that made a charge move this phase. Set this model up on the battlefield within engagement range of that enemy unit. So he's miraculously intervening into combat against an enemy unit that made a charge phase. And he's going to hit 8 times at strength 6 -3, 2 damage. AP -3 is beef. As I'm sure we're all aware, the AP across the game overall has gone down. So AP -3s and AP -4s are quite rare these days. If you don't want to miraculously intervene him in and then leave him on the battlefield, well, he can jump around. He's movement 12, 7 wounds with a 2-up and a 4++. And in the top right corner, you can see he's got lone operative, which means if you leave him on the battlefield and he's more than 12 inches away from any enemy units, you can't shoot at him anyway. You can't target units with lone operative that are more than 12 inches away, so he should be safe jumping around, ready to jump into combat, because maybe you want that charge bonus. So then he gets up to strength 7, and then he gets up to 9 attacks in on the charge. Another thing that's quite rare in this edition is fights first. There's not a lot of units. Some index cards for some codexes don't have any fights first units, but he is a fights first unit. So the fight phase is broken down into fight phase and fight first and remaining fights. And in the fights first phase of the fight phase, defenders always go first. So even if the enemy comes charging in and charging units get fight first, the defender picks one of their fights first units to fight first with. That's a lot of fights first, I've said. Anyway, it's rare because it's powerful and he has it. I like the Sanguinor. Don't know how expensive he'll be, but a lone operative being able to jump around and hit charging in with 9 attacks at strength 7 -3, 2 damage when he charges is, and the devastating wounds, of course. 6 is to wound. Those 2 damage count as mortal wounds. If he's nice. He's very nice. So those are my top 5 picks for Blood Angels. I think with just those 3 different units flying up the table, and then with some guns in the backfield to hold it down, you'll have a pretty devastating list. Mind you, if I was doing it, I probably wouldn't have any guns in the backfield holding things down. I'd probably have a couple of units at the back to screen out here or there and throw everything forward, because Blood Angels do shine on the charge phase. Anyway, thanks for listening to this video. Happy wargaming.